just kind of can't believe this ownership. They just don't read the room well, man. If I'm honest with you, the back end of a 7-1 victory, we're all happy, and then it's like, boom, guess what? Season tickets are going up again, and I'm like, really? I don't know, man.
Their moments. They pick their
Yeah,
moments.
bruv. Yeah, bruv.
Yeah. No coincidence. It comes after the 7-1, but yeah, it is what it is. What came after the United FA Cup? Zubimendi. That was the one that came after that.
Yeah, that was a good one. That's a good one. And normally, when the transfer window shuts, it's the summer's gonna be a war chest. We always get that one as well, bruv. So yeah, I've just seen this movie so many times, bruv.
Unprecedented summer. Yeah, but as you can see, people, ticket prices rising. I know it doesn't affect everyone that watches the channel, considering we've got worldwide viewership, Arsenal fans all over the gaff. But in terms of the ticket prices rising, I still think it's very relevant to my thought process, the conversations I've been having, Dan's been having, Curtis been having recently, even Robbie and Co as well, in terms of the ownership and their true ambition. Because this ain't just a price rise in isolation. It's back-to-back increases over the last couple of seasons, and you couple it up with Liverpool freezing theirs for the season ahead, as well as other clubs. But I use Liverpool because they're on the way to win the Premier League, amongst potentially other things, probably the Carabao Cup. You see how Newcastle are day by day, the players are dropping, and they're still in with a shot for the Champions League. So yeah, their ticket price is freeze, and I'm looking at it like, oh. And in our explanation on the club website, it says something about, it's essentially saying if you want us to continue competing and winning major trophies, then, we have to fall in line with the rising costs. But I just don't. That just doesn't sit well with me, especially when you look around and you see other clubs that are either forcing their owner's hand, because I know Liverpool fans have do protest in general with these things, and win some, lose some. But, at least you protest enough to win some. Forget the one that you lose. Whereas we over here, we just take, Steve got ripped the other week for saying take it on the chin, but that's essentially what we keep on doing. I say I've got you on the stream. You're still a match going fan, week in, week out, season ticket holder, whereas I'm not anymore. So it's two different sides of a coin. There's still, many different sides as well. So forget a coin. But how do you feel? Like, because obviously people, especially on Twitter already, I made a comment earlier, and people are like, oh, but you don't go games anyway. You're comfy in the studio. It wasn't always the case, people. Ask yourself why I don't go to as many anymore. Ask yourself why I'm not a season ticket holder anymore. I was tired of feeling like a customer. Tired of it. And one day I'll probably come to regret it, that I let it go. But I ain't regretting it right now. I'll be honest with you, Dan. Not only you, but I believe with family as well, season ticket holders. This impacts you directly, impacts your pocket. How are you feeling about it? Because I think it was 6% last year and about 4% this year. So overall, in the last 24 months, it's coming up to about a 10% increase in prices. You consider we're already the highest prices. We've got the most expensive, cheapest season ticket in the league, and that's by £200. I think just below our cheapest season ticket is just over £1,000. The next in line is Tottenham, which is about 850. After that, Chelsea 750, and then the rest below. So we're some way off the cheapest season ticket. And then you look at all other metrics, most expensive, you're looking at £3,000, and you're looking at everything, they're taking the piss. Surely done.
Big time, bruv. Big time. Not my favorite people, as you know, this ownership. And the way that the club announced this is as if me and you are talking like we're trying to go to shopping Lidl's instead of Tesco's. Like, real talk. The way it's been announced is just a piss take, if I'm honest.
What do you mean by that?
People aren't billionaires.
The comment? Is that what you mean?
As if these people aren't billionaires. Do you know what I'm saying? Sorry, people, but where it is, cost of living stuff, it's all going up. We've got to try and compete, got to try and win these major trophies. Ain't gonna come out of my pocket, gonna have to come out of your you call everybody customers. That's basically what that statement says, bro. You lot are customers now, we're gonna hike it up because we ain't gonna put it in our pocket. The people forget that they've put 200 million in this club since 2008, since they actually rocked up. Yeah. 200 million pounds in 2008 to 2025, and they're billionaires. 200 million pounds, and people say 750 million given to Arteta. Yeah, hang on a minute. Like, what people just think Josh Kroenke's got a check out and gone, yeah, Mikel, 750 million. There you go, that's yours. No, man, this is self-sustained model. It's what they work on. This has come out of the club. This has come out of my pockets, your pockets. It's what they're doing. And they know right now that this process is done. Do you know why it's done? Because they're back in the Champions League, bro. They're back in the Champions League with this money. Yeah? Because we don't spend money when we're in the Champions League. We spend money to get back into it. That's why we got the likes of Aubameyang and Lacazette and Partey and Tierney and Gabriel and Ben White and Odegaard, and the list goes on. And since we've got into the Champions League, the signings have been none other than that. Absolutely crap compared to them. Yeah? So that's because they're back in the Champions League and there's 60,000 people on the waiting list. And their priority is to upgrade the stadium, not to win trophies. It ain't to go into the summer and January transfer window to try and allow this to be the case. They've got a merch dropping every single minute. It's not even kits now, Turkish. It's China vases now. Yeah? Mugs for £40. Signatures of some geezer called Nick Munden. I mean, Christ, can he play up front? Do you know what I mean? Who is this guy? Jesus. Honestly, man, this is the problem with this, right? A lot of people are too scared to call this out. I don't know why, but they are. A lot of the people are just dreaming and they're dreaming and they're dreaming and they believe the Cronkies have now woken up and that it's now a total ownership thing and they're going to be giving Mikel all the money and there's going to be a war chest in the summer. But people like you and I have seen this movie too long, man. It's all hope, it's all belief, it's all, wow, look at this. Maybe this is different. Maybe they're going to do it. And then boom, it comes crashing down. And then what happens is it's rinse and repeat. The season ticket prices go up and it's always the PR perfect time to when to announce this. We've already spoken about other examples of where they do that and how they do that, yeah? And unfortunately, I wish I could say that 90% of the fans felt like you and I. And it hurts me that they're 90% of the fan base don't, because there's a definite section that are still lapping this up. Well, we understand inflation and all that. They've got to try and do something because this is the way of football. So much money in the game. Got to try and get gate receipts up, X, Y, Z. If I actually understood that was a reason to say, do you know what? You want Isak, don't you? Right, trust me. We're going to go get him. Yeah, it's going to put your tickets up a bit, but we're going to go get him. But I don't have the faith that they are going to go get him, because I bet you they deliver me a Sesko, or I bet you they deliver me a Jonathan David on a free, as opposed to an Alexander Isak, right? So this is why I can't get excited by what this club are doing. And people might shout at me and say it's negative, and we get that quite a lot. I know you do too. But if these guys would allow me to get just to a final at Wembley, not a charity shield, yeah, not a community shield to go to Wembley, just try and get me to a domestic cup final and let me get to Wembley, yeah, at least. Can't even offer me that, let alone a trophy, yeah? You can't get me past the quarterfinals of a Champions League and you can't win me a Premier League 5 years in with the amount of money that we've spent. So it's letting me down every year. But what I'm doing is I'm having to put my money back in my pockets. Now, to be fair, I have admiration for people like you, right? That have just gone, do you know what? That's me. Cool. I know a lot of people that have done exactly what you've done. And I've got to be honest with you, bro. If I didn't have the family and the tight connection I do with the love of going to football for those reasons, maybe I'd be on the same bandwagon as you, right? But then there's again me thinking, people say to me, why do you go? Why do you buy merch? Why do you do this? Why do you put stuff on your walls? Why do you X, Y, Z? Do you really think Stan and Josh are going to sit there and go, oh, hold on a minute. Dan Potts and Turkish have stopped going in the shop. They've stopped going in the shop. Listen, if there was 60,000 people stopping going in the shop and they was leaving at 70 minutes because they've had enough, or they were making a kind of united front and a united voice, I'll be there. But unfortunately, we don't have that as a united fan base. Yeah. What happened to the we want Cronkies out and the we cares to you and the protests outside the ground? Why are they just stopping again now? Because this is the thing with the fan base. They don't know what they want. Do they want to compete? Do they want to win? Do they want to get across the line? Or are they happy to see the PR?
I use the word customers now because there is a thin line between. When I say customers, I'm looking at it from the Kroenke lens. Yeah, no one should get offended because I don't particularly look down at any form of support. I think there's various forms of support that's required for a club to do well, whether that's positive, negative, optimistic, pessimistic, accountable, riding the ferries, whichever type of support is, they all play their part somewhere along the line for sure. And I think Arsenal's support, especially Emirates over the last couple of years, has probably been the best it's been in the Emirates era in terms of noise, unity, belief, passion, all of that, songs, all of that. It's probably been the best 2 years back to back, especially after the toxic last few years of Wenger, where it was very much divided into various different factions. So those match-going fans, where I've been, here and there throughout the last 2 years, you've been much more consistently, but those match-going fans who have helped along the process, because they have, right? Because Arteta said it, and the club have insinuated it, saying the fans need to, help rally around. The atmosphere matters, make noise, sing, do all of these things. The fans have done that in the stadium, and this is what you've hit them with year on year, back to back. And you're saying it's to win majors, essentially, whilst the team that are winning majors and have won majors in the last 5 years have frozen theirs. But like you said, and I see a comment about give up the season ticket, Dan. It's not, I'm not Dan, but I'll speak for him here. It's not an easy thing to do. And the reality is, and I know the reality is, nigh on impossible to get it back if you ever want it back. And Arsenal are not a company we've just bought into or like Apple iPhone or like Nike trainers. It's something more than that, or it was something more than that. I always use the reference, it was a club growing up, felt very much felt like the fans were very much connected. Now it feels very much like a company that had fans come along with it for Kroenke, but those fans are the customers, and that's why it's such a profitable business. It's a unique business for them. It's a very unique business to have the level of loyalty that football clubs have, not just them, all the owners that have came in over the last 20 years. But we've seen some owners that have come in, invested, and you can tell the ones that want to win, that want to create something special, not create a well-run, profitable business. Now, even the argument about well-run, profitable business, I used to hear this a lot when we were selling players year in, year out. But then it ended up in us making losses. Remember, self-sustainable isn't just 2 years ago we heard that. It might be 2 years ago the first time the young generation heard self-sustainable. I'll let people know. Self-sustainable came in when we moved into the Emirates. And self-sustainable led us down the road to a loss-making company for the first time in our history.